Okay, so I wanted to do another album battle today. So we have Mariah Carey's Daydream versus Butterfly, and these are both two fan favorites, and I thought that this one would be really interesting. And so here's going to be the track list for both albums just to kind of refresh your memory as to which songs are on what, and it kind of might make your decision a little bit easier as to which one you're going to go to. But, both have great album tracks, both have great classic songs that we've come to know and love. And now I'm going to make the case for both albums. So with the Daydream album, I feel like everybody is going to walk away satisfied with this one for the most part. Fantasy, #1 for 8 weeks. First song by a female artist to go #1, and deservedly so. The way she was able to flip that Genius of Love Tum Tum Club sample is brilliant. Amazing vocals on here. She directed the music video, which I love, and great songwriting from her as always, especially second verse. She's always going to have a great second verse, so that is a classic that we love. Always Be My Baby is the first song that she actually worked with Jermaine Dupri on, and quintessential R&B. She also directed this music video. Vocals on here are sublime as well. I love the production on here. Her songwriting on here is top tier, especially the bridge has to be one of the best bridges in her entire discography. One Sweet Day with Boyz II Men, #1 for 16 weeks, and definitely a pillar of the 90s, and great vocal songwriting production on there as well. And then with this album, it's kind of a concept album because basically in the beginning she's talking in fantasy like, oh, I wish you were here with me, but it's just a fantasy, and it has very lush production with songs like Melt Away, and you also have the amazing I'm Free as well, and there's just a lot in terms of that, which I appreciate. And then whenever you get to the Daydream interlude, she's reminding you like this is just a fantasy. And then whenever she gets to Looking In, it's just bone chilling, because if you didn't really follow her or watch any of her interviews or were into her music like that, then you would think like, oh, she's just this pop star. Like you wouldn't really know how much that she struggled before she even got to fame, and how much she was struggling at the hands of Tommy, which she would later reveal. And so this song, there's just a lot in it. And the part that always gets me is whenever she says, well, here I am for all them to bleed, but they can't take my heart from me, and they can't bring me to my knees. They'll never know the real me. And yeah, it's just looking into who she really was, all the struggles that she's been through, and just a very heartbreaking piece, and one of the most personal ones in her discography. And she said that she wrote this alone in 15 minutes. She said she had to sneak this song on the album, and I'm still shocked that they even let her put this on, because again, it was something that was so personal for her. It was different. It's kind of jarring to listen to with the rest of the album. I really appreciate that moment of honesty from her, and this is kind of the beginning of her having her most personal song as the last song on the album. Long Ago was a great track on this album. I'm Free is underrated. Underneath the Stars is my favorite song on this album, and my favorite Mariah Carey song of all time. And I just really love the production on here. I think it's phenomenal. Her vocals on here are top tier, and especially the Tokyo Dome version is great. And I think that version is actually underrated for sure. And her songwriting on here, very vivid imagery, and definitely some of her best throughout the entire career. And even she said she thinks it's some of her best. So the video, I'm glad that we have it. Melt Away is a phenomenal song that she did with Babyface, and it tends to be a fan favorite. I just love her vocal tones and textures all the way throughout the song. Great songwriting, stellar production on here as well. And I think there's just a lot to like about this album. I feel like it was very important for her career. And yes, you're going to get the bops like Fantasy, Always Be My Baby. But there's some great moments of introspection on here with a Looking In that I can really appreciate. And so whenever I'm going to recommend someone to listen to a Mariah album, usually I recommend they listen from the beginning. But if they don't want to do that and just want one album to kind of give you a grasp of what she does, I say this one. I feel like you're kind of guaranteed to like it. In terms of the case for Butterfly, I just think that this is her best album. I feel like she took the strengths of Daydream and she took it to another level with this album. The songwriting is her most personal, with songs like Butterfly, and I love the lyrics, spread your wings and prepare to fly, for you have become a butterfly. And just, the background singers on that song really take it to another level for me. I love the production. There's just something that is so gorgeous about the song, and it's like a top 10 Mariah Carey song of all time for me. And then Close My Eyes, which she wrote over 4 years, which was about everything she had to kind of endure growing up. And the fact that the song is still, so great after writing it over segments of time, it's just a really fascinating piece. Outside of something she wrote about being biracial, as someone who's biracial, I can really relate to it. But, people from all walks of life can really relate to it. It tends to be a fan favorite as well. And so I think that there's just a lot to like about this album from purely a songwriting standpoint. I think it was her most personal. I think that it's just very strong. I really love her vocabulary on this. And yeah, the songwriting on here is like my favorite on any album she's ever done. In terms of the vocals, I love her vocal layering that she employs all the way throughout this album and just the arrangements, especially on songs like 4th of July, for example, which is one of my favorites on this album, one of her best. And then you have Baby Doll, which is a great example. Outside, of course, is definitely one that I have to have the nod to. The Roof is definitely a masterclass in vocal layering as well as songwriting. She literally says, "My apprehension blew away. I only wanted you to taste my sadness as you kissed me in the dark." I mean, who else? Who else? What she's able to do with that pen is a feat. And so just from that kind of standpoint, and then again, the production, 4th of July, I think it matches it pretty well. I love what she did with the samples on Honey, of course. Breakdown is really great from a production standpoint, Baby Doll. And so I really love it in terms of that. And I think that there's just a lot of career best on here in highlights. Breakdown is one of my favorites that I just mentioned. I really love the way that she was able to kind of match Crazy Bone and Wishbone's flow on that song, just the way that they fit on the song, the vocals on there. And the music video is actually my favorite Mariah music video of all time. I love the color palette and just everything that's going on there. So definitely shout out to Diane Martell for directing that as well. We already mentioned 4th of July and just her vivid imagery again on that song. Phenomenal. Like, she literally says, "Thunderclouds hung around so threateningly, ominously hovering, and a sky open wide, showering." Like, impeccable. Outside again is a favorite. Butterfly, the song, is definitely one that I have to mention again just because I love that one so much. So I feel obligated to mention it, and why shouldn't I? Baby Doll has become a top 5 song for me on this album as well. There's also a cover of The Beautiful Ones on here, which actually has grown on me a lot because I used to not really care for it too much. My All tends to be a fan favorite. I mean, I'm basically naming the entire album, but I mean, it's just that good of an album in my opinion. I will say that before you listen to this album for the first time, I would highly recommend watching her interviews, reading the Wikipedia for this album, and just learning why it was so monumental from her from every single standpoint, just because I think that makes the album that much better. Because if you go and you listen to it, you will enjoy it, but when you understand like everything that went behind this album, what we ended up getting, and how her career would be so different, not only with the album but with the imaging, her being able to basically say what she wants, dress how she wants, and kind of just be the person who she is, I think it just makes the album that much better. So I would not recommend this album as the first one that you listen to if you've never heard Mariah because of those reasons. I would say start off with Daydream or start from the beginning, but that's just my opinion. And so now that I've given you both cases for why I like both of these albums so much, I'm definitely going to give the nod to Butterfly. Like I said, just does everything Daydream does, but a lot better. And I think that this is just the crown jewel of her discography, and I think it was her artistic peak. Vocal, songwriting, production, everything on here came together beautifully, and she was really able to go more in that R&B and hip-hop direction because she was done with Tommy, and we love that. And so yeah, this album, just spectacular. So that's going to be my pick, though I think Daydream is a fantastic album. So now I want to hear from you. Which one are you going to be going with, Daydream or Butterfly? And let me know why, because for some people it's more of a sentimental thing. Some people think that one album is just better, and I would really like to hear your thoughts on this down below. But I've done revisit with me's on both of these albums on my main channel, Anastasia25, and I'm just re-listening to it, giving a lot of context behind the songs, my personal opinions on it, so you guys can check that out for a little bit more on it. If you guys like this video, give it a like down below. You can subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. If you hit the bell, get notifications from when I post, not missing new videos come out. And I'm gonna have a link down below in the description to all videos I've done on Mariah Carey if you're interested, as well as my main channel. I'm uploading there every single week. My Twitter accounts, my TikTok accounts, my Instagram, Free Palestine. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.